All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a beautiful morning we're having. We got the Impact Hour with my man Joseph Lee, and Joseph. I don't know, but this past weekend, everybody was inside, especially Saturday and Sunday, and I think on my show on Tuesday, I said, okay, y'all, it's time for y'all to get outside and smell some fresh air. Don't want you cooped up inside. And what's that thing we called up north? It was some type of cabin fever. That's
Yeah,
what we
cabin
call it.
fever.
Yeah, that's what we call it. I said, y'all need to get your butts outside. But I caught myself going outside on Monday checking the mail. And I shared this with everybody. I didn't see that ice spot. I slipped and pow! I hit the ground. And I'm not going to lie to you, Joseph. I looked up to see if anybody seen that was laughing, because I hit the ground hard. And then I got up, came inside, told my wife what happened and everything. I was limping for a couple of days. So Monday, my cabin fever was over with after hitting that ground. But it's Mother Nature, and I didn't look down. That's all I got to say. I assumed everything was okay, and what's assumption is the wrong thing you need to use all the time. Because back in the days, we all say assumption is the mother of all screw ups. So, so I screwed up.
Well, gravity is always undefeated. Whenever you mess with gravity, it's always going to win. So,
Yeah.
you think, down here in San Antonio, you would be kind of protected from slipping and ice and all that. That's usually a northern phenomenon. But occasionally we get ice down here, and then, we don't usually even keep the things around that we have up north, like salt that you throw out on your driveway and your walkway. So you just educated me. The next time, it freezes, I'm gonna go ahead and get me some salt ahead of time, because if it can happen to you, it can happen to me, right? And I don't even know the moves I used to do. When I used to fall, you try to aim for the grass, or you try to, you're more agile when you're younger. Now we just go down, and it
Yeah.
takes a little longer to get up, and it definitely takes a little longer to heal. So be careful. I think we're done with this. I don't know. I thought I haven't checked the weather report, but I think we're pretty much done with the freezing down here.
No, it's coming back
We
this
got more.
weekend. We got a couple of series of fronts coming through tomorrow and Saturday, and
Okay.
even though it won't be no precipitation, and it will not be below freezing during the day, but at night we're gonna dip down to 29 one day and 28 the next day. Then temperatures will rise again come next Monday.
Well, I think I would just have cabin fever. Again, I still got my logs for the fireplace, and
Yeah,
I just kind of stayed here. Went to my doctor's appointments, of course, and medical appointments or whatnot. But other than that, man, it's I kind of hibernate when it gets cold like this. For the reasons you just said, falling and the cold. I didn't come all the way down here to deal with this cold too much. But I can't really complain, man. Shout out to all of our listeners up there in Michigan and the Midwest, Martha over there in Chicago. So yeah, I know they're dealing with a lot worse. And Dallas got hit harder than we did, for sure.
yeah.
They so prayers to them, and hopefully people are kind of thawing out of in that area and in all the areas that are affected. But so it's that time, man. But it'll phase out here. We probably got about a week or two. But yesterday, I don't know if you noticed, it was pretty warm
Oh
yesterday.
yeah, it was beautiful out. Today's gonna be the same way. It's gonna be nice outside,
See,
and so
that's you got to be careful, because you get comfortable and then slip, boom, there you go. You know what I'm saying? So 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 look down, Ron. Look down.
you know what I'm laughing at? My wife
Yeah.
sat there and told me every time I said, I'm gonna go check the mail. She said, "Watch the ice."
Yeah.
she
See, now you
she
mess.
she is on me about that. Watch the ice.
Yeah, Ron. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell Tiff too. So you probably gonna get it from. And I got to tell Glenn. So did you tell Glenn already?
No, I just been. I want to make sure I was okay.
That's the most important thing. But,
You
thank
know,
goodness.
my,
Thank
my,
goodness.
my
Yeah.
daughter my daughter got on me,
Yeah.
When I told her today, but Dad, you didn't tell anybody. I said, I'm fine. She said, you get on my case. I said, yeah, it's called a double standard, and I have it.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, you know the daughters are gonna really be on you.
Yeah.
So, you seen Sydney around, or if you haven't, I get it. So
Yeah.
the daughters are on you, man.
Oh, man.
The roles reverse as you get older.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's switch over now to the mental side of this. Well,
Mm-hmm.
people being inside and stuff, it isn't like COVID, but when you stuck inside and you can't go anywhere, um, every once in a while, couples get on each other's nerves if it's 1 or 2 days, and you know they I haven't heard any domestic anything that went on, at least on the news. I haven't heard anything, but you know it goes hand in hand. Even though you're glad to be at home, excuse me, but on the other hand, you can't stand each other. You know, because y'all got different things that you do, and you just don't like each other. I'm just being blunt, you know. So, what's your thought process on that?
Well, I'll say some people have what's called seasonal depression, so you have to kind of watch that when it gets colder. You don't have all the outlets that you normally do, or you don't feel like those things. So a cabin fever, as we used to call it, you don't feel like going outside as much. It's cold, for the reasons that
Yeah.
you just talked about. There's some hidden dangers out there with the ice, and people just generally just sometimes if you have seasonal depression, feel worse. So if you're then around someone who you love but is getting on your nerves at that particular point in time, it can make things a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So what I'll recommend is, you have your own your hobbies, or find a good book. Anticipate your depression, or anticipate maybe feeling a little bit crowded at the house, and find ways to escape mentally. Get into a good movie series.
Yes.
Most of us have these devices, and I'm hesitant to recommend this, but I'm going to recommend it in the case of when you're in the house all day and you can't get out or don't want to get out. Put in a good movie series, that series that you want to see or whatever, and get a good book, and find. You always recommend that people have a little getaway area in your house. So when you go in there or you go there, people should know that this is your spot to kind of relax,
Yeah.
and just have some time to yourself. And it's important to do that. And one of the things I want to talk about is meditation. I don't know if you remember that movie, Tina Turner and What's Love Got to Do with It, or whatever the name of it. And how Tina Turner dealt with the abuse. Now, I'm not saying anybody should be dealing with abuse, but just to show you the strength of meditation, she got into meditation, and it helped her to deal with what was going on in her external world, the stresses of being a superstar, having a dysfunctional relationship, abusive relationship, and she began to center herself and be able to change her outlook, change her paradigm, and find her strength. And she, like she did in that limo.
Yeah.
You gotta see the movie.
You
and
sure
understand what
do.
I'm talking about. Yeah,
Ike is
she
still
was-
stunned by that.
Yeah, she didn't eat cake that day. Anyways, I'm talking too much. You shouldn't make light of emotional, physical or emotional abuse. But
Yeah.
that was a good movie. But the point is, you need to have some place to go to react. And I said this on the last show, and I think the show prior. You can't all the time control what happens to you, like the weather and the different things happen, but you can 100% control how you respond. So you should always take kind of a focus, or take a priority for your peace of mind. Every day you should have some period of time, something you do that's just for you to de-stress, let the day go, whatever is stressing you, if it's a significant other, because, we love our spouses, but sometimes, we can feel like we need to have a little space.
Right.
And that's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So, have some space in your home. Set aside some spot in your house, and you can even get these things, what they call the AirPods, and put some noise surrounding. I have an app called Calm, where it has different meditation and musical sounds and EMDR, emotional. What does EMDR stand for? It basically helps with eye movement desensitization response. And what it does is, if you have certain stress or PTSD or whatnot, it kind of helps you in treatment of that. It kind of stimulates the brain and relaxes you in a certain way. And there's apps out there that are pretty good. Calm has an EMDR feature or programs in it that help you to calm down and relax. Anti-anxiety. They have a pre-sleep, thing to kind of help you to calm down right before sleep, which I recommend. So a lot of times these things, when you're relaxed, it's easier to avoid being frustrated. It's easier to not be so irritable when you're relaxed. See, a lot of times if you think about it, you're irritated because you're already irritated.
Yes.
And you just don't want to, when you go home, you don't want to be bothered for a minute. And I always recommend people take a couple minutes out in the driveway, listen to some music, calm down, and take that stress off before you go into the house, and that can help as well. So
yeah,
that's my take on that. I hope I didn't go into too many areas, but
no.
Be aware of seasonal depression. Be aware of your anxiety and stress level before you're around your spouse. And other takeaway is, have a place in your house where you can relax, de-stress, put on your headphones, listen to your music, jazz, your gospel, and also have some routines. Like in the morning, I always listen to gospel music with my daughter. We have our morning prayer either at home or on the way to school, and those type of things kind of help to set the pace and set the day. And have the routine when you get home, I need a minute.
I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna share a story with you. I was on this Zoom call for Gospel Fleet, and so we were on there, and somewhere along the line, they started calling me Pastor Gordon. I said, "No, wait a minute. I never said I was Pastor Gordon. Somebody said that." I said, "No, I am not. I'm just Brother Gordon. I'm just Brother Gordon." So as the meeting was going, they want to close out with a prayer, and they said, "Well, let Pastor Gordon." I said, "I am not a pastor, but I will close out with a prayer." So when I got finished with the prayer, I went from pastor to Bishop Gordon. And I'm sitting down here, I said, y'all don't know my background, but I know God choose people, but I haven't been chosen yet. Look like y'all choosing me. Next time I'm Brother Gordon, okay? You know what they all said? Okay, Pastor Gordon.
Hey, listen, man.
I was just being myself. And, I wasn't trying to do it. And you know me, the least thing for me to do, and I'm on the radio, is to speak out in public.
Listen. Don't make me start going into the scripture on how God chose people. You don't decide who you are, right? And if you say you're a minister anyway, see, that's the other thing. When you talk about gospel, you talk about God. What do? You're ministering.
Yes.
So that's it. So maybe we're gonna have to add another title here.
Oh man.
The Bishop Gordon.
I might have a lot of titles, man. I'm telling you.
We got to get that theology thing going. I'll be the first one in your church to see you preach. And I'm still gonna cut up. I'm still cutting up. So don't think just because you will put that title on, I'll respect the title, but I'm still gonna cut up in the church every once in a while.
I know you will.
Yeah, I will. The Black MacGyver that turned into a bishop. Well, I'm telling you, that's all right.
Oh, I tell you. But those are some things, and people look at you, and they could tell sometimes, by the way you. Matter of fact, we had that discussion one time that certain people could walk in a room, and people see there's authority right there.
Right.
They look at that, and they can see that by the way you walk in, just how you are. And I remember one time I walked in a place, and this young lady said, "Oh, you conceited. I said, what you talking about? You walk in like you all that. I said, wait a minute. You getting something confused. She said, what you talking about? It's not conceited. It's called confidence. And you got to learn how to read between those two without opening up my mouth. You said I was conceited. But now that I'm talking, let you know where I'm coming from, do I sound conceited? She said, no, you don't. So something, we just use that word, assume, assumption. And she assumed that's how I was the way I walked into the room.
Well, I'm gonna use this phrase I use in counseling all the time. I want to unpack that a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you got to understand is people have their own mental illness, they have their own insecurities, and they have their own, I'll even call it out, they have their own demons. And when you walk in the room, the light that you have in you can agitate the demons they have in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you come in the room and somebody may see your confidence, what they're lacking, and they'll transfer their feelings to insecurity onto you.
Yeah.
And I know I'm talking to some of the listeners out there, and some of the listeners who may hear that show where they can't figure out why when you walk in the room, certain people just seem to get irritated just by the fact that you walk in the room and you haven't done anything wrong and you don't do anything wrong, but you agitate their demons and you agitate the fact that they don't have that confidence. So some people attack, some people withdraw, some people, the healthy response is to say, man, what is that? What is it about that person? Why do they, how do they have that thing that I don't have? And try to figure it out, to ask some questions, find out about your background, your confidence. But then unfortunately you have some people that will try to actually tear you down. Yeah, and just saying, we dealt with this before. If you think back in school, the bullies were the ones that were actually the most insecure.
That's right.
And they would attack the ones they were jealous of, be it because academically or whatever the case may be, they see a future in you that they don't perceive themselves having. So you got to remember that, especially if you're a Christian, you're going to have a different effect on people, and you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to have that effect, and you agitate those demons, you agitate those insecurities, you agitate those things just by you walking in the room. And you know what? Be humble as you can, but don't be passive. There's a difference from being humble and passive. I'm not going to let you just say anything to me. And I'm not just going to let you do anything to me because of, whatever you're going through. Mm-hmm. I can be confident and I can be competent and I can also stand up for myself. And I understand, though, standing up for yourself can have a cost, especially in this environment. We don't have the protections that we used to, but you still have to understand that you have a right to stand up. But you have to be wise, right? And take a note. I always tell people when you're at work, keep a notepad with you. I don't know if you can see this. This is a notepad. Keep a notepad with you. And, when somebody says something or does something you feel is inappropriate or it could be said a little different, take a note of it. Take the date, the time, what was said. And then, if there's a supervisor, when you have your meeting, just say, hey, this happened on such and such day. It made me feel uncomfortable. What can we do to change that, or what can I do to change that response? So that they know that you're aware of it, and they also know that you're keeping track. Yeah. So there's things you can do, but just you can't. But then make sure you learn from it if it is something that you're doing, or whatever the case may be. Look at it with an open mind. But if it doesn't feel right, sometimes it isn't right. So that's all I have on that.
Okay. All right, so let's go to you. You was bubbling with joy when we were talking off camera.
Yeah.
We always do. If y'all can hear the conversation we have off, which is nothing bad, because we're talking about what we should be doing, what we can do. We have announcements. We're telling everything that's going on. And Joseph, man, this guy got a lot of stuff coming up. I'll let you take it from there, Mr. Lee.
All right. Well, May 9th, 2026, I'll be at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. There will be a physical and mental health seminar there at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is being hosted by the San Antonio Delta Sigma Theta alumni chapter who reached out to Kappa Alpha Psi, and I was asked to be one of the participants or panelists there. So we'll be talking about the theme is what's going on now and what's the T. So that should be a pretty exciting, pretty interesting discussion. And it's going to be kind of a theme on how we can be proactive and focus on male and female of all races. So there seems to be one of the things that we talk about on this show is how we can deal with, what's going on and how we can help the village to support each other and we'll see where the conversation goes. But
Yeah.
I think I did this symposium about 4 years ago, and it's a lot of good information. One of my fraternity brothers, I think he's a clinical psychologist. He's going to be there. I'm a therapist, psychotherapist. I'll be there, and it should be a very good discussion. The other thing I'm excited about is on March 14th on Saturday. Both of these events are on Saturday. From 12 to 5, I'll be at Chicago Bites. So Impact Counseling will be there. I'll probably have one of my life coaches there. I'm looking to see if I can get Craig Washington there and with his book, about it's talking about it in the Guiding Grace Ministries. I always got to say that right, man. The life coaching ministry, is going to be there, and we're going to be able to talk about some mental health things, get some resources out to the people. We will be having our list there, so if you need some resources, if you need some help, you can come to the table, talk, give us your information. We'll reach out to you, confidentially, and see what you need. And we've got some resources right here in San Antonio that we've got for you, and we're kind of pulling together and connecting people with stuff. So hey, let's come out and get some good information, get some good mental health information, some resources, and I'm looking forward to getting out in the community a little bit more.
Oh, and that's good. I'm as you were saying that, I'm making sure that you are on the list, and I'm doing it right now. And so make sure that everything is there, so you don't come there with no surprises, which you won't be.
No.
But doing that right.
So outstanding. So
All
looking
right.
forward to being there, man. Bites, we had some. Last time I was there, I think there was a potato pie contest.
Yeah.
Pie contest.
Yeah,
And,
she whooped my butt. You know what?
And-
I told her, I said, you needed to win that because I won. I was going to talk trash for a year, but then I thought about it. I said, the restaurant need to win this, not a total stranger. She said, Ron, you're not a total stranger. You called me out and stuff. So that made it good. She said, we need to do more things like this. She said, that generates everything. I said, it does. And I took it on the chin. So what? Whoopie poo. That's some of the things.
I was there, Ron. You was a little bit ruffled, a little bit. You were a little bit ruffled. You thought you got cheated a little bit. But,
Oh no, I wasn't too much worried about it and everything. But since you brought up March 14th, let everybody know that we're having our fundraiser for the radio station the following day on the 15th from 3 to 6 p.m. I think we got it set up for. So we're doing that for WSN Radio because we're in dire need of. We're expanding and we're booming and we got to get more equipment, cameras, you name it. I need a whole bunch of stuff going on because some of the stuff is 6 and 7 years old. And I did have one camera that malfunctioned a couple weeks ago.
Uh-oh.
So the time and the need is there right now. So We're doing that on March 15th, so we got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, hey, doing things in the community, and I think you've been nominated for some awards here coming up. So we don't know if you're gonna bring that up, but I'll be
Yeah,
praying that you get that, man. Because I see what you're doing out here, and it's commendable. Definitely commendable what you're doing.
okay. Well, it's the HBCU awards. The sneaker ball is coming up, and I was a nominee for community impact. And the voting is going to start on February 1st. I will send that link out, and to let everybody know, it's going to cost $1 to vote, but that money is going to the scholarship of HBCU students that's going to black colleges. And Monique does this every year, and I'm part of that every year. Sometime in June or somewhere along the line, she has that going away, and each student that's going to HBCU college will get part of a scholarship. St. Philip's did one last year, and so all that money proceeds go towards that. And we had some kids there, some nice scholars there, and so this is just not fluff and all that stuff. She actually gives all that money to the students. They get a refrigerator and a microwave too. I think
Oh, wow.
I think one year when I was working for this company I was working for, I had loads of laundry soap and dryer sheet and softener, and I gave 4 or 5 boxes of each to her. And them kids,
Wow.
they loaded them back in laundry bags. They loaded everything up. And Monique said, Ron, I never thought of that. What's that? Laundry soap and stuff. Yeah, these kids gonna be washing their own clothes, and I had it and I gave it away. So that's some of the things that we do, and community comes in and give things away. So that's giving back to the community.
100%, man. So good to hear it. You've been, giving to the community since I've known you. So good to see that continuing to happen. And looking forward to, hanging out with you at Chicago Bites on the 14th.
Yeah.
Messing around with the folks over there and getting some good food and seeing the community. Say, hey, come out, and if you got some questions, you got some people that, maybe need to talk to somebody or know somebody, send them that way.
Yeah. Definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. I'm looking forward to that, to get out there, because now we're doing that groundwork that people forgot about. We so busy wrapped up with this device right here, if you can see it,
Yeah.
that we forgot how to interact with people.
Yeah.
And with things like this, we're interacting with everybody else. And not only that, it's going to turn to a great big network event too. You know,
One of the things, and I thought about having a reunion of Flames where we all kind of met.
yes.
All get together and just kind of talk about how we got together. And I was talking to some people on advertising, and they were like, well, we got all these different ways of advertising now through AI and all that. And you know what? I'm old school. I like to go right to the people, set up my booth or set up my table, and let you know about the services and all that. And I will always do that, because
Yeah.
if you're in the people business, you got to be able to talk to the people, to meet face to face. And I know we've got all these tools out here, and I'm not trying to say that they don't have a place or whatever, but to use, non, how can I put it, human forms to communicate with people, right?
Yeah.
I think that's somewhat part of the problem. Now I get it, in some ways that's okay, but there's some things we have to do as humans with humans, and that's in terms of helping and building community. Now we
Yeah.
can use these as tools to maybe help with the paperwork, or maybe get the message out, or whatever the case may be. But some things still have to be done in person.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, building connections, I don't really know how to do that other than, face to face. human to human. Now, maybe you can do that over the computer, get it. That's still face to face. But now in this I put it out there, this world of AI, there's some things that will never be replaced. A soul talking to another soul will not be able to be replaced. Okay, and there's some reasons for that. You had experiences, you got life experiences. I've got life experiences, and when you talk to different people that need to benefit from those life experiences, need to understand you've gone through some of those same things. That's a powerful thing.
Yeah. And like you said, I met Joseph first at Flames Restaurant because I was doing networking every Wednesday evening. And I met Joseph there. I met a lot of people there, and it started off just a little bit. Then everybody's looking forward for that every Wednesday. We had that going on, and I think I'm gonna start that again.
Yeah, that might be. Hey, listen, we call it the Flames reunion or something, or whatever. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but whatever you're gonna call it, the networking, social, whatever. But it was a nice event, and a lot of connections were made there.
Yeah.
That are still lasting to this day.
I was gonna say that we still stay in contact with each other, and we're still doing our thing, and it was so funny because it was a fluke. Be honest with you, I was just there on that Wednesday. Then I decided, I asked the owner, I said, "Hey, can I do a network? You do whatever you want to do." I said, "Okay." So maybe that'd be something to think about starting over again on Wednesdays again. Just stay with the tradition, and I'll have it out there at Chicago Bite.
Okay.
So
Sounds like a plan, man. Sounds like a plan and a good idea.
I got a spot, so I might as well go ahead, go for it. And she wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
She wouldn't mind at all. So, yeah, that's something we could look into.
So, do we have any questions, any call-ins, any write-ins, anybody?
Let me check. Because Miss Sharon Bell Moses just got on and said good morning.
Good morning, Sharon. The eyes of the city.
Let me see here. Our girl Veronica just sent me something.
All right.
Oh yeah, I see it right here. Okay, because which is right around the corner. Black History Month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I see no questions on here this week. We had a lot last week.
All right. We had some on relationships. We had some on. So I guess we can focus on just say self-care. Making sure that you are dealing with these times. Oh, I'm hearing something.
Oh, that was something that just popped up on there. I clicked it off.
Okay. I don't know. Look, we got too many electronics around here. I'm like, me? Or is it you? It's doing. So I'm looking at my phone and all these screens and all that. But yeah, so self-care is very important right now. I know we got some folks got the cabin fever. Spring is coming, not too far. Around the corner. So yes, it was nice outside. Let they get out for a little bit. Let the sun hit you. Be careful. Look down, right? In case there's ice hanging around. But the sun hit you. I went outside for a little while yesterday, and got my my SUV washed, and just that sun hitting me, felt really good. Just to get out of the house for a little bit. When you're in the house for a while, you can kind of get like in a mold, right?
Right.
And those that have seasonal depression, maybe don't even know you have seasonal depression. If you feel down every time it gets cold, you might want to look into that. My wife had to tell me, I noticed that you got to get kind of down every winter because I like to be outside, I like to swim, I like to do those type of things. So when I can't do that, I kind of feel like I'm kind of closed off a little bit. So be aware of yourself, aware how you're feeling. I highly recommend everybody journal. And you're like, well, I'm all right. Just write a couple things down, how you feeling that day. Things that are going good, why things are going good, or things are going bad.
Right.
Write down so you can recognize that pattern. So just a little tools and tips and things. But, reach out, iccstmi.com if you need to talk to someone or think you need to do some life coaching or whatnot. got some people to talk to, or I can direct you to. That you may not be my client, but I'll be more than happy to direct you to someone that could be a good fit. There's a lot of help out there. And what's that emergency number? I want to make sure I say that right. I think it's pound 9888, right? Is that the emergency? If you're feeling down, feel like you're going to hurt yourself, reach out. And I think that's what, pound 9888. I think that's what that was.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, let me see.
I have one here that said you can text 988.
Is it okay? Text 988.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, let me see. 988. And yeah, text 9. That's the suicide and crisis line.
Yeah.
So you can call 988 or text 988. And they also have an official website. And the official website is 988lifeline.org.
Yes.
So if you feel like hurting yourself or feel like somebody might be feeling down or might hurt themselves, you can pass that, tell them, hey, text 988, get some help. If you call the veterans, if you have a veteran, check on your veterans. They have all kinds of resources out there, but this 988 is for everybody.
Yeah, and make sure you check on your neighbors and the elderly.
Yeah, please.
Because with the weather the way it is right now, they're sitting in there and just, I don't mean be critical, but some elderly folks will not cut their heater on. I don't know why, but they won't cut it on. It always been like that. I talked to one day, and her reply was, "I can't afford it." So that's something we need to look at and make sure everything's okay, because they'll sit in that house and believe that house will get cold. It will get cold.
Yeah.
So
you gotta, maybe even go by and check on them if you get a chance. Sometimes they won't tell you what's really going on. Sometimes you gotta, as they say back in the day, lay eyes on somebody.
Yeah.
Going in there and see how they're doing, see how the house feels, and that can tell a lot, right?
Especially when you use, like me myself personally being retired, I see certain things the time of day. I got two elderly people like clockwork at 11:30. They go and they check the mail. And I know them. I talk to them and all that good stuff and how you doing and all that. And then if I don't see them for a couple of days, I'll go knock on the door and say, "How you doing?" "Oh, nothing." I say, "I'm just checking on you." Because they have that routine, and you look at that routine, and that routine is out of whack. Don't sit back and wait till you say ambulance show up. Go over there, find out what's going on.
Yeah. That goes a long way, right? And fortunately now we're not in COVID where you can actually go and check on somebody, right?
Yeah.
I remember, when we couldn't do that. We just had to wonder if everybody was okay. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it wasn't, when you did see an ambulance, and I don't even remember seeing too many ambulances during COVID. I don't know how people, what was going on, man. That was a weird time. COVID was a very weird time. It was almost like a different planet, but I still remember it. I still remember how busy I was. I remember everybody understood what mental illness was during the time of COVID. Before COVID, people were kind of wondering about this anxiety thing and wondering what this means, but during COVID, everybody understood mental illness. At least certain elements of it, and relationships were truly tested. Were truly tested during
You
COVID.
ain't kidding.
Yeah. So the lessons we learned on how to communicate, how to get space, and what we talked about earlier today, making sure that we have some space for ourselves and do some self-care. There's nothing wrong with a little self-care and doing date night and watching a movie or Netflix. As they say, hey, it's Netflix and chill ain't just for young folks. That's for older folks too. We got some movies in there we want to see.
Yeah, that's why I call it. I tell everybody, sit down, watch an old movie. You want to laugh? Look at Friday. Then look at Purple
Yeah.
Rain and
Come on.
I was named Shaft. I was naming all off. I said, man, and when I mention the movies, I want to see them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes when I get off the air, I'm done. I look at my schedule. I say, I got a couple hours. I'll pop a movie in.
Yeah. And it's nothing like popping in an old movie for that old nostalgia. To take you back. Because remember, you're gonna have music from that era.
Yes.
You're gonna have the clothes, good or bad from that era. And sometimes it's good just to revisit. Now, I don't say live there, but it's good to revisit. What's the
Right.
song? Back down. Hey, you got a song for you to play now. Back down memory lane.
Oh, yeah. Back
Yeah.
down memory lane. Man,
Yeah.
she was something else.
Wasn't she something else?
Minnie Riperton.
Minnie Riperton, the great,
Yeah.
the great Minnie Riperton, man. So a phenomenal voice. She was Mariah Carey before Mariah Carey was Mariah Carey.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but that's nothing wrong with, and that's actually self-care. I don't know if people know this, but music is a form of therapy.
Exactly.
So, and you got to be careful. You got to be careful what type of music you listen to. I say, gospel has a very powerful healing ministry. So, every day I try to listen to, a significant amount of gospel to kind of keep my spirit right, my focus right. And it's, kind of swap out news with some gospel.
Yeah.
Instead of watching the news, let's watch some things that we're talking about hope. Because remember, if you say you're a Christian, you've got another sovereign power that supersedes all. So, when you get sick of listening to all the foolishness of this government, just remember you have a king that reigns supreme.
That's right.
Over everything. And whenever he decides it's over, then it's over. So,
Yeah.
so just dwelling on that, focusing on that, understanding that you have power, and reading books of Proverbs and Psalms. There's a lot of strength in those two. I call it the power of the two P's. I read Proverbs, Psalms, Proverbs for wisdom, Psalms for to be wisdom and to be consoled. To have some peace and to be consoled from what's going on. You got to remember, nothing really going on now is new. You got to remember that. This is not the first time we've seen this style of leadership. I would say, hey, nothing going on has got anything on the pharaohs of old. So
There you go.
Just remember, if God could do things back then, it's still the same God. We as humans, as modern day humans, we want results now. We want results yesterday. We want results instantly. But God just doesn't move that way. Life doesn't move that way, right? And there's a lesson for us to learn in all this. I'm not saying I like everything that's going on right now for sure, but there is a lesson to be learned. Because see, on this show we talked about a lot of things now that have come to fruition.
We sure did. Years ago.
Years ago, we talked about those things. And see, what I realized in therapy and in counseling, you can say anything and show people and help them to realize it, but when they don't want to see it, sometimes life has to show them.
That's right.
So we're in this phase now where life is showing and educating. And who are those folks that need to be educated? Don't have to say no names, but some of these folks are being educated. And I think I'm starting to sense a shift.
Yeah.
I'm sensing it. And that shift needs to happen because, see, there's a conscious and there's a subconscious, right? The subconscious mind are those things that control us, but we don't even know that it's controlling us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of programming of the subconscious to a significant amount of people. And now they're starting to get what's called cognitive dissonance. Everybody can look that up. Cognitive dissonance. When what you want to believe and what is actually happening is completely different, and you have to deal with that reality. So cognitive dissonance. What's going on right now is we're having cognitive dissonance as a country.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with it, right? And some of the things we need to focus on are getting back together, building our village. So I'm looking forward to March 14th, getting the Chicago Bites and building with the community there. May 9th at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church from 10 to 12, being there talking about, what's going on and what's the tea. And trying to figure out what's going on. And this is something for all races. This isn't just from a Divine Nine perspective. This is for everybody. Come out and I think my brother, who's a clinical psychologist, and then myself, a psychotherapist, will be there. And we're not new to this. We both have over, I think between the two of us have about 25, 30 years of experience, in this field. So come on out.
I was, you just reminded me of something. We got time. All right. I didn't hit you up with a crazy question at the end.
Of course. I mean, this is prime Ron Gordon.
Yeah. Okay. I was listening to somebody. He said there are people out there that are asking boomers. Do you know what that is?
Asking boomers. Is that what we were talking about last week? The comments they were asking questions in terms of wanting to ask the question or tell you something,
and they answer it for you, and they take over the conversation.
That's it. Right.
Well, somebody brought that up again to me Tuesday.
Okay.
And they said, y'all dabbled a little bit into it. I said, it's really nothing to dabble into. If you ask somebody a question, and before as they give you the answer, you answer them for them and take over that conversation. And he said, what does that mean? I said, well, number one, you're probably insecure. And number two, you're probably one of them type of people that's controlling. That's how I see it. You want to get your point across, but you don't want to listen to the question you ask. You don't want to hear their answer. You just want to open the door for you to start talking. And the guy said, I never thought of it like that. So when you're around people, find the ones who's asking their question, then interrupt and take over the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fair. That's and that was from Psychology Today, and it was one of the things that we're supposed to hopefully try to stop doing in 2026, which is asking those type of questions when really it's not a sincere question you're asking. You just want a chance to talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they said, if you want to brag, just go ahead and brag.
Yeah.
If you're going to brag, just say, hey, I'm going to Paris or I'm going to whatever. Don't ask a question when really you're not sincere about wanting a response. And I think that's just good communication skills all along. If you want to unpack that a little bit more, if you want to be successful in your relationships, you need to learn how to actively listen anyway.
Right.
So you ask a question, and then you wait for their response, and then you repeat back, hey, I thought what I heard was this, right? That shows that you're sincere about asking questions. And, that's really, if you want to have more productive relationships, be it, with your significant other, at work, whatever, try it. Get yourself out the way and truly try to see where that person is coming from. And that's the first level. Then the other level is looking at your nonverbal communication. If the person is talking to you like this, does that mean that they really are happy at that moment? If they're open, and that's why as a therapist you need to be aware of all those things. And I watch things. There's a lot of different things you can learn how a person says something if they're not engaging you with eye contact.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's different things to help build a relationship.
Yeah, he asked me, so what would you do to run across somebody like that? I said, that's easy. I said, you see this thing right here? He said, yeah, that's your phone. While they're bragging about themselves, look at your phone, pick it up, say, hold on, I got to take this phone call and walk away.
Yeah.
Get an excuse to walk away.
Yeah.
You don't
do that. You don't have to do that. You can do that, or you can just say, hey, you know what, I gotta take this call.
Yeah.
And just go.
There's so-and-so over there. I got to go talk to him. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And just leave. It's easy. I say it's real easy to leave. Don't get drawn, because they want you to get drawn into that. The more people they get drawn into that, the more power they think they have. But if you walk away, Where's the power?
Well, they've got to go to somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, they will.
But it won't be you, right? So,
I'm staying away from him.
important.
He walked away from me. He don't pay me no attention. You doggone. Somebody asked me one time, I was listening to him, and I knew it was a bunch of garbage. And he said, "So you're not paying me no attention?" Oh, I'm paying you attention. I'm paying closely attention to you. But I got some questions once you get finished. They walked away.
Yeah.
They just walked away.
Yeah, most people that are pumping out garbage don't want questions.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember when we were talking about some different topics, we were asking people to come on to the show. Come on here.
We sure did.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to step into I call it the lion's den. And I think we would have been nice to them.
Oh yeah,
we ain't gonna be disrespectful, but you got to have your stuff together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, last week before we got time, we got 5 minutes. Last time I kind of got on the females pretty hard about relationships and when they're looking for a significant other that they're dating potential and not the person, right? But also I said, the guys, we have our issues too, right?
Yeah.
That we have to be willing to listen. Right? I think I already kind of covered it. Listen and actually look more than at the superficial than if we want a relationship with substance. We have to look more than at just the appearance or whatever the case may be. And appearance is important, I get it, but that's only one part of it. And I guess that's good for both males and females. We always say we need to look. If you want a relationship that is built on something solid, it can't just be superficial things.
Right.
It has to be something of more substance. That's why I highly recommend you have a dating period of at least 3 to 6 months, 9 months, to understand who a person really is, see who they really are, because you can only keep it up and act for so long. So
right.
So that's some relationship advice to give.
And we're gonna tap into some of that as the weeks go on through this year. We definitely gonna mess, because I think we need to do a segment on relationship. Matter of fact, probably need to pull a panel together in the evening time and do that. And leave the lines open up so people will call in. Matter of fact, they don't have to call in. They could join the Zoom call.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I think what I might do is if some folks want to connect with Impact, we've got the 2 options there at Bites on March 14th, and then going to come out on May 9th to Antioch, Baptist Church. You do that, but if they want to send you, not on the chat, but send WSAN Radio or Impact Counseling. Where's my logo here? Yeah. Impact Counseling, LLC at gmail.com, email address, and then if you want to get it on a symposium or just have like a little panel, I'll have a Zoom, I'm going to call it a panel. Just have a Zoom call where you talk to myself and a life coach, maybe even get you on the line if you want to be there, just to talk. Some people I think don't want to talk in a public venue, they just want to get the information. But you might have a question or something that you might want to talk about in a Zoom call. And I have no problem putting something like that together for about an hour or so. Just being available, having a life coach, therapist, maybe another clinician on the line, just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. That
so
sounds
we
good.
can do that.
Yeah.
So if I get an email, you get an email, just let me know. And then we'll set up a time. I'll email the time to everybody, and
all right,
we can chat. So
all right, we did good, right up to the minute, man.
Right up to the minute.
So
no, we can't.
Let everybody know your slogan, and also how can they get a hold of you.
All right. Well, hey, my slogan is your actions speak so loudly I can't hear a word you're saying. So make sure you're saying the right things with your actions, not just your words. All right. And then how to get in contact with me, you can go to that website that's right here, iccsmi.com, or you can contact Impact Counseling, LLC at gmail.com. I think that's over here. Somewhere I'll move out the shot. so we can get that impact
There you
counseling
go. Yes,
right
sir.
there. So you need to you want to reach out, either way, and then phone number is right here. Yeah, there it is, right there. Yeah, 616-617-9522. You can leave a message or a text. If you're interested in service I sell, you can go to Psychology Today and go and look up Impact Counseling LLC, or Impact in Joseph Lee in San Antonio, Texas. Also, we have an office in Grand Rapids, Michigan as well. So shout out to my folks up there in the tundra and the cold up there.
In the tundra. I like
Yeah,
that.
the tundra. I call it in the cold. The Creston Polar Bears. That was our school mascot, and boy, we represented that to the fullest and still do, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
with
hear
that
you.
being said, man, hey, really enjoyed this segment, and look forward to seeing people on March 14th, Chicago Bites, May 8th at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. We'll have the impact table out there with some resources and contact information and all that type of stuff.
Make sure you send me some of that info on the church, Antioch Church, so we get it posted and start talking about it.
For sure.
All right, brother. You take care.
All right.
As always, nice talking to you.
Good talking to you as well. All right.
And we'll catch you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
All right, everybody. That was Joseph Lee right here on WSAN Radio. We're going to get back some more music. Peace and chicken grease. I'll catch everybody bright and early.